If you are a frequent online shopper, and who isn't, it's likely you've noticed a small increase in the prices of goods from Amazon and even some delays in delivery. And Amazon isn't alone. Businesses like General Mills and Tyson Foods have also been forced to raise prices as a result of the shortage of truck drivers. Many forget that most products they consume are driven across the country. As a result of a lack of drivers, businesses have been left scrambling to incentivize the positions. Truck drivers play a much more vital role in the economy than you might have expected. And just before we get started, I will say that this video only has 6 entries because we don't have to just do top 10s despite the fact that this channel is called Top Tens. We're flexible. Number 6. Demand is so high that truckers get paid more than teachers. There are more than 63,000 open positions this year in the trucking industry, and that number is only going to get higher in the coming years. Some have estimated that it may even double as more drivers leave the industry. Demand is so high that companies have lowered qualifications to the bare minimum. Industry insiders have stated that trucking companies are willing to hire drivers if they can simply pass a physical. One recruiter told the Washington Post that she recently placed someone who had served time for manslaughter. Recruiters are currently offering trucking jobs that pay between $60,000 and $70,000 a year, plus a $4,000 signing bonus. Median salary for teachers? Well, that would be $58,000. Despite the significant bump in salary, many applicants are still turning down the position, leading many industry insiders to believe that the problem isn't just about money. It's also about the nature of the truck driving industry and the driver's place in it. Number 5. The life of a truck driver isn't easy. I mean, how hard could it be? You put it in gear and you drive it across the country, sometimes stopping at truck stops and delivering goods to warehouses. I mean, how hard could it be to fill such a simple position that pays so well? Well, it turns out it's not as simple as we might think. One man interviewed by the Washington Post said that after he told his uncles that he was thinking about joining them as truck drivers, they said that they would kill him. The interviewee's uncles were right to warn him of the dangers of truck driving. Trucking requires people to leave their family or home for weeks at a time and live in a small cabin or sleep in the truck. As a result, many truck drivers see their family lives fall apart. Divorces are high in the trucking industry, with many drivers losing their families and returning home to children who have forgotten about them. Life on the road, it's no picnic either. Drivers sit for hours in diesel trucks and eat meals that few Americans would find healthy or pleasing. As a result, truck drivers suffer from many health problems. For truckers, weight gain and heart disease are very common. More than half of truck drivers report high blood pressure, obesity, and interestingly enough, 51% were cigarette smokers, more than double the national average. Long-term diseases often hit truckers particularly hard. The prevalence of diabetes among truck drivers was twice that of the general population, 14% versus 7%. In addition, 22% of truck drivers are taking medicine for high cholesterol or have been told that they should. And if disease does not get you, don't worry, something else will. Trucking is one of the most dangerous professions in the United States. The Department of Labor found that there were 1,000 fatalities among motor vehicle operators in 2016, meaning that trucking is a more dangerous profession than being a law enforcement officer. For many who are considering signing up to be a truck driver, the pay isn't worth the problems. Number 4. A lack of truck drivers damages the economy. On a recent conference call, a Walmart representative called rising transportation costs the retail store's primary headwind. Naturally, as companies compete for drivers, the salaries of drivers has increased. Even with the increase, recruiters still cannot fill the shortage, leading to more generous offers for potential recruits. Jason Olesh, the vice president at AIM Transportation Solutions, recounted his pitch to a pair of new graduates from a truck driving school. According to Olesh, he normally reserved his best offer, regional routes, $70,000 with full benefits and only 10 to 12 hours a day, for his most experienced applicants. This year, he pitched such an offer to two 20-somethings who just graduated. Even with his generous offer, Olesh laments not being able to make a dent in the labor shortage. Many industry leaders believe that the lack of truck drivers will have a significant effect on the economy. As more and more companies pass on the costs to consumers, it could lead to prices of goods rising so quickly that there could be a recession. Number 3. It's a boys' club, but they're hoping to change that. This one may not be that surprising, but it's interesting nonetheless. Not only is the industry struggling to recruit truck drivers, they're also struggling to maintain their fleet. According to Derek Leathers, CEO of Omaha-based trucking company Werner Enterprises, demographics are working against the industry as the majority of their drivers are above the average age of comparable industries. With drivers retiring, new drivers quitting or leaving for other positions, turnover is at an all-time high. As a result, the industry has decided to finally attempt a new tactic: recruiting women. Only 6% of truck drivers are women, and finally, as a result of the shortage, the trucking industry has tried to broaden its appeal. Number 2. Trucking and inflation. In June, transportation costs posted a 1.1% gain, their biggest gain since 2008. Businesses are transferring the increased costs into the price of goods, which is already starting to affect consumers. With the Trump administration levying tariffs and engaging in a trade war, American consumers are likely to face an even bigger increase in the cost of goods. Inflation has already hit a 6-year high, with the price of goods wiping out the small increases in wages that workers have gained. If the truck driver shortage does not get remedied and the Trump administration continues to escalate its trade war with China and other nations, the cost of imported goods is only going to increase. For the last 2 decades, the amount of truck drivers has ranged from 3 to 3.5 million. However, freight volumes are projected to increase by 37% over the next decade. With a labor shortage of 50,700 drivers and an increase in demand of moving goods, industry projections believe the shortage will skyrocket to 174,000 by 2026. With a seeming inability to attract new drivers, how is this disaster going to be averted, and how is this hole in the economy going to be filled? Number 1. What will be the impact of driverless cars? While some might fear automation, there is nothing stopping it from becoming a reality. The only question is, how long is it going to take? For the trucking industry, it couldn't be coming sooner. Billions are being poured into startups and trucking companies who are trying to develop the technology. Companies have engaged in an arms race to develop self-driving cars, with outfits like Google and Uber engaging in litigation over patent infringement. A ton of hurdles still remain before driverless cars can get on the road. Passing regulatory guidelines and the public backlash after an inevitable fatality means that driverless cars may not revolutionize the trucking industry for at least another several decades. When that day comes, the effect on the economy will be momentous. Insurance companies, truck stops, vocational schools, they'll all have to reckon with this new reality. One interesting facet of driverless cars is that it's a misnomer. The trucks will not, at least at the beginning, drive themselves through all environments and circumstances. Human drivers will have to be on hand to take over in complicated situations. If a human being will still have to be present in the truck during the voyage, it remains to be seen whether the underlying problem will be solved. It leads to another problem, and that's how do recruiters convince American workers to sit in a truck for 10 or more hours a day? Also, does having an automated system actually make the job any more appealing? Well, only time will tell. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, do give us a thumbs up below, and don't forget to subscribe. Brand new videos every day of the week. Also, if you're looking for something else to watch right now, why not check out my other channel, Biographics. There's a link to a video from there on the screen now, as well as another Top 10s video. And as always, thank you for watching.